Hi my friend, this is Candy again and welcome back to my channel. In our last video, we talked about the top 4 common problems of BMW N20 and N26 engine, and they are number 1, timing chain key system, number 2, vacuum pump oil supply, number 3, overheat engine oil caused by the oil leaking, number 4, the defective turbocharger oil line. Overall speaking, the BMW N20 engine is quite reliable and does not have too big issues. Especially for the car owners who enjoy the DIY fun, the repairing cost for above problems is not that high. As long as we pay more attention on the problems we discussed in the last video, it is a fair, easy model to maintain with. Most of us are not that professional as the mechanics or as the DIY car owners. Plus, most of the standard maintenance you may already know, so I don't want to spend time on that. On the flip side, what I want to share is our maintenance reminder specific for the N20 engines. So, are you ready to roll your sleeves and join our trip? Let's dive into the number 1, engine oil. First, refer to your user manual. The proper oil is a must-check point. For the N20 engine, the weights 5W30 or 5W40 is highly recommended. Based on the oil capacity, it will require about 5 liters each change every time. If you have browsed on the forums, you may notice that there are some debates on the oil change interval. Some say 5 to 7,000 miles, and some say 50,000 miles. Some say 6 months, and some say 1 year. In our opinion, it all depends on the oil type you use and the way you drive your car. First, let's see the engine oil type. There are 3 types of the engine oil, and which are mineral, semi-synthetic, and synthetic. The mineral oil literally is the crudest kind, which is considered as the genesis foundation for modern engine oil. The disadvantage of mineral oil is they offer so little to nearly no lubrication and protection against the friction-induced heat. So, though the mineral oil is the cheapest comparing to the other 2 kinds, it did require more frequent replacements. With that being said, you can imagine if you use the synthetic oil, which is the most cutting-edge type, but also most expensive, it will offer the best protection to your car engine. So, now I have a question for you. How do you know what standard of oil is suitable for your vehicle? Correct, you have to refer to your car owner manual. The standard requirement for your car will be listed in your manual. Secondly, let's see the way you drive the car. Example, if you are the aggressive driver with big feet, or you usually have the city or short trip driving, our suggestion is to change the oil with the interval 5,000 to 6,000 miles. For the gentle drivers with moderate driving, or you usually have the highway or long trip driving, 7,000 to 8,000 miles interval is our suggestion. However, if you seldom drive your car, let's say the mileage is less than 3,000 miles a year, you still need to replace the engine oil at least every 1.5 years. So you can make sure the oil will not go bad inside the engine and damage the function. The proper oil will be the right thickness and viscosity, which can provide the necessary lubrication and protection for your engine. As long as you choose the right oil, change it periodically, which will depend on the way you drive the car. Then the engine is under the good care. Number 2, ignition coils and spark plugs. Why we especially mention these parts is because they play an important role in the gasoline engines. They are responsible for igniting the air and fuel mixture in the cylinder to generate the power. Every time when the cylinder fires, the ignition coil and spark plug must do their duty to generate the proper spark for a full burn. During the process, the ignition coil is like the transformer, whose role is to transform the car battery voltage to near 10,000 high volts to the spark plug. The plug then can create the spark to ignite the air and fuel in the cylinder. Without the harmoniously cooperation, the engine will not get started and may lose power. These components wear over time, so it is recommended to change the coils every 60,000 to 75,000 miles and change the spark plug with interval 50,000 to 60,000 miles. To check these components periodically will help you make sure they work to their best ability. So, you are welcome to check our shop to see the spark plug gapper and ignition coil tester, which I will put the links down in the description. Number 3. The oil cooler and engine coolant. Whether you have a 2013 BMW F30 or even older vehicle, the cooling system on any vehicle plays an important role to make sure the engine's cooling system can remove the excess heat from the oil. The majority car drivers never interact with their oil coolers. The N20 engine oil cooler is quite reliable if you compare it to the design for Chrysler 300 year 2008 to 2012 or the Challenger 2008 to 2012. The latter model's oil cooler, which OE number is 5136023AC, has huge demand for replacement, which we will have more discussion in the future video. Apart from the oil cooler, BMW doesn't state out the coolant replacement interval for N20 and N26, as they design the coolant with the so-called lifetime fluid. Even though, we still recommend to flush or replace your N20 coolant with the interval 60,000 to 80,000 miles, or to have a check every 5 years. As long as the vehicle is maintained as scheduled, the oil cooler and coolant can last as long as the engine. Above all this, we want to talk about some occasions when these components are wearing or broken. There are some signs to remind you it's time to replace these components. So, let's see these symptoms. Number 1. Extra oil around the cooling system. When you see the excess oil in your cooling system, very possible is the cooler adapter fails internally. When the adapter is broken, it will fail to keep the oil retained in the correct place. Then the oil will be forced into the cooling system. Number 2. Oil leaking from oil cooler. As we just talked about the oil cooler adapter, this adapter connects the oil lines to send the cooled oil back into the oil pan. Over time, the adapter gasket or the rubber O-ring may be aging or wearing. The wearing gasket or O-ring will cause the oil be forced out of the engine. That's what we talk about in the symptom 1. You will see the excess oil in your cooling system. With this situation getting worse, the puddle of engine oil will appear on the ground underneath your vehicle. So, whenever you notice the oil stain underneath your car, please have your mechanics to help you to start out seeking out the problem. Because when the oil leak happens, the engine will lose the lubrication ability very soon. The engine temperature will increase and damage other parts. Number 3. Engine coolant leaking. Likewise, if the leaking happens on the engine coolant, it also will force the coolant run out of the engine. Same as the oil leaking, you will see the coolant puddle underneath your car chassis. If the situation is worse, many possible the steam will pour out from the hood of your car. Same, when this symptom occur, contact your mechanics and fix the problem. Number 4. Preventive timing chain kit replacement. As we mentioned in our last video, the N20 N26 timing chain kit is prone to fail due to the design flaws. More and more experienced mechanics now know to recommend their customers to have the preventive timing chain kit replacement to prevent the potential risk. Well, why we suggest to have the preventive replacement is not only because the genuine design has flaws, but also because it is very difficult to check and tell when the timing chain guide will break or when the tensioner will lose function. From our technician friend's opinion, he shared with us that very limited visual inspection may be proceeded even if the valve cover is removed. Meanwhile, the inspection will require 3 to 4 hours of labor time, and the inspection fee is around $250 to $400. With that being said, to have the preventively replacement sounds more worthy than just do the inspection solely. The suggested interval for the preventive replacement is around 50,000 miles. Before that, remember to change the engine oil based on your car owner manual plus your driving habit. Moreover, if lucky engine visit before 50,000 miles, and you sense there is the rattling noise coming from the engine, don't hesitate to visit your mechanics right away. Don't wait till the unchanged timing chain fails and damage your engine. So, these are our 4 handy reminders for you to take care of your N20 engine. How about you? How do you maintain your vehicle? Leave comments below to share with us. Meanwhile, I'd like to hear from you about your opinions. Which car do you want to know its most common problems and its maintenance methods? Leave comment below so I can prepare the information for you. Alright my friends, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up and hit the notification bell. And I will see you very soon next week. Adios!